Welcome everybody to our Thursday night basic reset. Excuse me, I almost thought I was going to cough there. Business Builders Call. My name is Penny Kyle, and I am out of Central California, and I'm so excited to have everybody on this call tonight. If you're an affiliate that's already with Basic Reset, thank you for coming and supporting our incredible company and these wonderful products. And if you are a guest, this is your first time, but maybe it's not your first time on a call, but you just want to get some more information, I really want to extend a hand out to you guys and welcome you from the bottom of my heart to listen to how incredible this company is, the compensation plan that's so simple, anyone could do this, and a little bit about our products. Just a little bit about myself. I'm coming up on the 1st of July. I will have 1 full year that I've been here with Basic Reset, and I am so incredibly proud to be a part of this company. The products, we're blessed with these incredible products because they not only work for humans, but also for animals and plants. Every living and breathing thing on this planet needs to know about Basic Reset and our incredible products because they are definitely life-changing. Here at Basic Reset, we have an actual Facebook group. If you become an affiliate, you can be a part of, and it's a group exclusive to just affiliates where we have a fellowship, a team, we have leadership, we have tools, we have so much to offer that it's absolutely insane crazy. We also have a testimonial page where you can literally see testimonies coming in on a daily basis simply from using the products. And we just got so much going on. We've got some incredible things that are coming. We just opened up 10 levels worth of compensation that it is out of this world. This is a company that I have been looking for over 12 years in this industry. Thank goodness I found Basic Reset, and I really have to owe it all to my sponsor, Mr. Randy Steen. I'm so glad I got the chance to meet him a little over 2 years ago, and now we are inseparable, even though he's in Arkansas and I'm in California. So I would just like to say Basic Reset has totally changed my family's life. We went from losing everything that we had worked so hard for, became evicted from our home, close to losing both of our vehicles. My husband and I both had jobs, and we were both laid off. We used up all of our unemployment. We went on to welfare, and thank goodness for this industry because it truly was a life changer and a life saver. And here at Basic Reset, you can have all that and so much more. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to the man who introduced Basic Reset to me, somebody who, is a giving man from the bottom of his heart every single day. You usually see at least a video a day from this man. It's absolutely insane what he does for us, and he helps people that he gets absolutely no monetary compensation for. And that's what he's taught me to do, and we love helping people. So Randy Steen, are you here tonight?
Penny, I sure am, and thank you for welcoming everybody. As usual, you do an absolutely fabulous job, and thank you for that nice introduction. And folks, you heard Penny tell her story that they almost lost everything. What they did, they lost their place that they lived in, and then they had to get into another place. And what she didn't tell you is that when times were tough and things weren't going right, Penny actually went door to door, unless I missed it, Penny actually went door to door and picked up aluminum cans and collected them and went and sold them to have extra money coming in for the family. And, I don't know how many people are willing to do stuff like that these days. That's called work. It's called, you got to do what you got to do. And then the thing is all of this has made possible for her and her husband to move into a brand new home. I mean, it's just coming up within a few weeks. We've watched the construction of this home from the ground up as actually you feel like we're part of the family, you know, and so it's really been cool. And so, Penny, I want to thank you very much for your hard work, because you also spend a lot of time helping people with absolutely no monetary compensation in many, many, many cases. So thank you. Well, guys and gals, I want to thank you all for being on the call tonight. You know, first of all, I want to welcome everybody here that's a guest on this call. Excuse me. You're a guest because somebody asked you to get on this call and listen to what we were going to talk about. They wanted you to be able to maybe get somewhat of a glimpse into what they're doing in their life or they're experiencing in their life, and they wanted you to be able to maybe have that same experience, or maybe you had mentioned to them that things weren't going the way that you liked them to go. And they said, well, gee, why don't you get on and listen to this call and listen to what these guys and gals have to say about this company called Basic Reset and why this company is making such a big splash in the industry. Excuse me. In fact, I want to talk about that for just a minute before I turn this call over to somebody else that you're going to just love listening to. But I want to talk about this company called Basic Reset. You know, this company was started with a whole bunch of different things in mind that most owners of network marketing companies don't have in mind. The first one is this. When Fred and Kim decided that they wanted to offer their products through their own network marketing company, which quite frankly, they had offered their products through other network marketing companies in the past, and it just didn't seem to work out because most of the time the companies would go out of business. And the management would maybe get greedy and try to do things that they, you know, get a little bit more money or something or whatever. It just didn't work out, and so they just were selling the products via the internet and, of course, through ads that they ran and stuff like direct to the consumer. And eventually enough people asked them, because they were referring people to using our products, if there was some way they could get paid. And a little over 2 years ago, the concept of Basic Reset was born. And it really kind of took off in March of 2015. That's when it really kind of took hold and started to really become what we are. And we have evolved since then. Like Penny said, we went from the most fabulous 3-level marketing program. And I want to stop there for just a minute, because what you don't know, what people don't really understand, is you can make all the money in the world that you want on those 3 levels because of the way the company pays you. I'm not going to get into that right now, but it's fabulous. But we knew that there were people out there that said, well, gee, they really didn't understand the 3-level thing, and they wouldn't take the time to learn it. So we opened up levels 4 through 10, as Penny said. So we've evolved from that. We evolved from paying commissions once every 2 weeks to paying commissions every day that you can use to buy product, and then once a week we send them out to you right directly into your PayPal account. We evolved from having just the original products that the company had to adding more products, including one of the fastest growing, most prevalent, super healthy energy drinks on the market, one that everybody loves. We've evolved to that. And there's so much more coming. We've got a website that is simple and easy to understand, yet it's modern and up to date. We've got a back office that's probably about as technologically advanced as you can get in any type of a back office with a network marketing company. As a matter of fact, it does stuff that we're still learning that it does. That's how advanced it is. And it's so advanced that it's going to be able to accommodate us as we grow with the company. But you know, here's the thing I really wanted to talk about with our company that's really kind of interesting. When Fred and Kim decided to launch this company, you see, they didn't launch the company with what most company owners have in mind, and that is attracting to them the largest, biggest, hardest, fastest, most powerful recruiting network marketers in the world. Most people that start companies, that's what they're looking for. They want these superpower guys to come in and bring in thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Now, do they want that? Of course it's nice to have that, but they didn't start this company with that in mind. You see, they started this company with something else in mind, and that was this. Fred said this to me when I first talked to him. He said, you know, Randy, he said, when we went to put this company together, we had this thing in mind, and the thing was this. In the entire network marketing industry, we always hear about that 80 to 85, maybe even 90% of the people out there that get involved in the business, and they never make it. Now, they quit for several reasons. The first one, most of the time, is the fact that they don't make any money. So he said, we're going to nip that in the bud. First of all, we're not going to charge them to be a distributor with our company, to be an affiliate with us. They get to join us for free. And when they sell a product, we're going to pay them a meaningful commission that they could actually make a living on if all they did was get customers, and that was a 35% first-level commission rate that you're paid on every customer or every person that signs up as an affiliate below you. And if that's all the commission you made, folks, you'd be receiving 80% more commission than most network marketing companies pay you on several levels. I want you to think for that. Just think about that for a minute. And then he said, you want to know something else? We're not going to force them into having to purchase a product in order to get the commissions that they earn. And that leads me in to what I want to talk about. There was a fellow that we were talking to, that Fred was talking to the other day, and he made this statement. He said, you know, Fred, he said, what I like about Basic Reset, or one of the things I like about it. Fred said, what? And he said, well, he said, you're bringing ethics back to network marketing. And you know, folks, we are. You see, we aren't doing the unethical things, and I know, I can tell you right now, that every network marketing company owner, that if they could hear this call, or if they do hear this call, are going to be spitting mad. They're going to be turning over in their chairs and their beds. They're not going to sleep at night, because what I'm doing is directing this kind of at them. You see, we're bringing ethics back to the industry. You see, in the network marketing industries, companies will charge you a fee, or they used to. Not everyone does anymore, but most companies still charge you a fee to join their company. Now, what is that fee? Have you ever thought about that? You think about this. If you went out and to go get a job, and you were to be a salesman, and you were to go get a job for any company in the world to be a salesman, do they charge you a fee to come and go to work for them? Do they charge you a fee for the privilege of letting you sell their product that they make money on? Think about that. No other industry in this world does that except network marketing. They charge you a fee and convince you that it's ethical to pay that fee, because that's the privilege you have to, you're going to, pay to play. That's the privilege of being able to sell with our companies. You have to buy our kit, which back in the days when there wasn't internet probably wasn't a bad deal. You got your money's worth in the kit most of the time, because it was stuff that you could use to market your product. But nowadays you get the same kit. And guess what's in it? A bunch of papers you never use, because everything's done on the internet, or most things are done on the internet. Okay? The second thing is this. They say, well, great, now you're a distributor with us, you're an affiliate with us, and here's our products, and the guy that sponsored you probably will give you some training. Maybe he won't, I don't know, but you can go out and share these products with everybody that you want to, and when they buy, guess what? We're going to pay you commissions. Well, wait a minute, though. It doesn't quite work like that. You see, they think that it's ethical that when you go out and spend all of your time and effort and money to get a customer for their company. Now remember, every customer and every affiliate, every distributor that you bring to that company, when they purchase product, that company makes money. Regardless of what happens to you, they always make money. And then let's say that you went out and, boy, you really went to town. You just really went to work. Like one of the guys, I'm going to mention his name tonight because I'm really proud of this guy, Willie Inman. Willie is marketing this product to people and sharing and signing up people right and left because he loves the company, he loves the product, and he understands what I'm about to talk about. You see, if Willie went out and signed up all these people, which he's done, and he was with most network marketing companies, and they're ordering product, and Willie's really excited, and boy, I'll tell you what, he's motivated. He's focused on what he wants to achieve, which he told me what he wanted to achieve. And all of a sudden he realizes, oh my gosh, May is over. It's now June. And Willie goes to get his check, which the company pays him. By the way, they hold his money. They don't pay him his commission until the 15th of the month for the previous month. Ethical? Not sure that is. Who uses that money? The company gets to use of it from day one. And they hold his money, and they finally are going to go to pay him, and they look, Willie, gosh, you brought in 50 new people this month. Congratulations. And Willie, those people bought a whole bunch of product. As a matter of fact, they bought about $10,000 worth of product. Congratulations. And, Willie, you made X number of dollars. And, oh, wait a sec, Willie. We can't pay you. Doggone it. You forgot to place an order by the end of the month. And we can't pay you. Ethical? I don't think so, folks. You see, at Basic Reset, we brought ethics back to network marketing. We don't charge you to join our company. Why should you pay us for the privilege of selling our products? We're privileged to have you on board marketing our products with us. And when you bring a customer to our company and you've sold that customer product, you've spent your time, your money, your effort, don't you deserve to get paid your commissions regardless of whether you've ordered or not? Of course you do. You see, that's ethical. And do we force you to purchase a product each and every month to stay active with our company? Of course not. Because that would be actually unethical. We don't do that. You see, when you come to work with us, you're working with a company that's proud to have you on board with us. We welcome you to our family. We want you to succeed in the worst way, because when you succeed, guess what that does to us? It helps us succeed. The more successful we help you become, the more successful we become. So why should we throw little rocks into the cogs or the wheels of this company by saying, well, you have to pay a fee to join us, or by saying you have to order a certain amount of product every month in order to stay active, or both active and get commissions? Why should we do that? You see, that's not ethical. So are we bringing back ethics to this company? Yeah. I want to throw something else in there. We've got a money-back guarantee with this company that actually I just noticed the other day there's some companies now that are actually going to it because they're trying to follow us. You see, there's many of these companies that told us that it can't be done. They said it can't be done. And yet we're doing it. Why is that? Because it's ethical. Because people appreciate and understand. One of the reasons people are flocking to this company is because of those very things that I talked about. Plus, we have a product that we want you to use a full 60 days before you make up your mind as to whether or not you think it's working for you. Because in many cases, people can use a product for less than 30 days or 30 days and not see anything, not feel anything. But generally, within 60 days, most of the people will. So Fred started a company designed to help the guy out that's never made it in network marketing. Never made it for whatever reason. And he launched it with the ethics that this company has that'll help you stay here. You never have to leave this company ever. There's no reason in the world to ever leave it because there's no requirements of you. I don't care if you build an organization that's 10,000 people in it and you never ordered a product. Now, I guarantee you you're going to have ordered product, but if you never did, we'd still pay you your commissions. Why? Because we're glad you're here and brought the 10,000 people. We want you to be able to have that kind of a life. Now, all of these things make our company, as far as I'm concerned, the number one company on the face of the earth. The only company on the face of the earth that you should really want to do business with. And you might say, well, Randy, I have these other companies that I like, and that's fine. Listen, we don't care who you're with. We don't care what you do. The only time we get into a scrapping match with anybody is if they're going to be in another company and come to steal our people. Well, believe me, you're going to find out that this nice little gentle puppy dog can turn into a real mean, vicious one in a real short period of time. But that doesn't happen very often. And the reason it doesn't is because people, when they get here, say, holy smokes, this is quite a deal. And the guy that put all of this together is the guy that I'm going to introduce to you right now. And you know what he's going to explain to you? We get asked questions all the time from people. Well, now let's see. Now, I've heard about these electric charging machines, these ionizer things that they change the structure of the water to alkaline, and you know, they say they're better, and I don't know. I mean, how does that stack up to what we have, and how, you know, how does it work in your body and all of that stuff? Well, we get asked these questions all the time. So Fred said, you know something, I'm going to address that tonight. And so Fred is on our call, and he's become a good friend of mine. We've never met, only on the telephone, but I feel like I've known him for 100 years. And I got to tell you something. He's a very gracious man. He promised me that if I came over to visit him, that they'd set up a desk for me. And he said, I know that we've got a couple of boxes that we can put up and put a nice piece of plywood on top of it. And he said, Randy, we'll set up a desk for you. And I said, that'd be wonderful. Now, Fred, I'm giving you a bad time. But listen, he's become my mentor, my friend. He is the chief cook and bottle washer, the owner, the CEO, the inventor of our products, Mr. Fred Kaufman. Fred, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Randy. And I just want the people to know it was going to be a really nice piece of plywood. So there, just to clear that up. Oh, Randy, thank you so much. And thank you, Penny. And thank you to everyone who took their time to be on the call tonight. And we want to make sure that you get your money's worth. And for anybody that doesn't think they got their money's worth on this call, call Randy and he'll give you a refund for what you paid. So anyway, we have had a lot of people join our company, and they have been out there telling other people about our wonderful products, our core products, Alkaline and Ionite. And they get resistance sometimes from people who say, well, I've been looking at this whole idea of acid-alkaline balancing. It's all over the Internet. I was one of the pioneers back, oh my gosh, probably I'm going to say about 35 years ago. That's a long time ago. And I was one of the first people talking about acid-alkaline balancing. And it was because of a wonderful book that I had read, and it gave me the first plausible explanation for why we have health problems. And it really made a lot of sense because we are about 70% water, our blood's about 90% water, and you have to think about the chemistry of that water. If the chemistry of the water in an aquarium is important to the life of a fish, then it ought to be important to us because with our bodies being 70% water, you might think to yourself, well, where is all that water? It's not just in your bladder. It's in and around your cells. So you have to think of your cells, which you have 70 to 100 trillion cells, as being like little fish in an aquarium. The water that makes up the cell and the water that the cell is surrounded by, it makes a difference. And one of the differences is the simple measurement of the pH. Now, I'm going to explain that to you real quickly here. Most people don't have a clue what pH means. They've heard about it. They've learned maybe something very simple that 7 is neutral on a scale of 1 to 14. 1 being very acidic, 14 being very alkaline. But they really don't know what that means. Well, it's very simple, and I'm going to make it all come together for you in a very simple way by adding one more letter, C. So think of this. pH means potential hydrogen, and it refers to what we all know as the 2/3 of a water molecule is hydrogen. You've heard of H2O. It's 2 ions of hydrogen coupled with 1 ion of oxygen. So 2/3 of a water molecule is nothing more than hydrogen. But if you could really see water, you would see that there's a lot of H2O, and there are also some H's that haven't bonded with any O's yet. And then there are some H's that bonded with an O, but it's by itself, so they call it an OH, or even a technical term, hydroxyl molecule. But the idea is that pH refers to the concentration of the H. If there's a really high concentration of H, then you have something that is acidic. If there's not much concentration or a low concentration of the H, the hydrogen, then you have something that's alkaline. So now let's look at this again. pH, potential hydrogen, let's throw in that letter C that represents concentration. So potential hydrogen concentration. The lower the number, the less potential there is for hydrogen to concentrate because it's already concentrated. The higher the number, the more potential there is for hydrogen to concentrate because there's not much of those loose hydrogen ions floating around in the water. So pHC, potential hydrogen concentration, and that should bring this into a more simplistic way of looking at it. So the best thing that you can have is a pH that's just slightly alkaline. In fact, your brain is very specific about prioritizing the pH of your blood at a pH between 7.35 and 7.45. That's a very narrow window. But the brain does whatever it has to keep that pH at that level because that's where you're the healthiest. And so if you look at the pH of the things that you eat and the things that you drink, you start to get an idea of how this pH can change from being slightly alkaline, which is healthy, to then starting to become more acidic, which isn't very healthy. And there's a couple reasons for that. But first of all, just think of it this way. Almost without exception, everything that's cooked, canned, or processed is acidic. Practically every single liquid that is a base of water but has had other things added to it, flavorings, coffee, tea, even fruit juices that are basically water, but you've got this fruit juice added to it. And even fresh squeezed fruit juices. They're most of the time slightly alkaline, but if you want to have those stored for a long period of time, you put them through some processes which makes them more acidic. And you have your citric acid fruits, the oranges, and of course one of our favorites is orange juice, a breakfast beverage. You have grape juice, you have other kind of juices, tomato juice. All of these things, even though you would think that they are really good for you, they're actually on the acid side. And a lot of nutritionists out there blow it off and they say, well, once the cell metabolizes those juices, it produces an alkaline ash. So there's actually combustion that takes place. Your cells are actually creating heat because they're combusting these little particles of nutrients from the food that you eat along with oxygen, and that's how your body maintains heat. But the result of that combustion, if you are eating something in the way of a raw fruit or vegetable or a raw juice from a fruit or vegetable, even though it might be acidic when it goes into your system, that combustion process produces an alkaline ash. So they say that's okay. But hold on, wait a minute here. Remember what I said about the brain keeping the blood at a pH of 7.35 to 7.45? I guarantee you if you drink a very acidic fruit juice or even one that is mostly diluted with water but is flavored with something like lemon juice is very acidic. I guarantee you that's going to cause a lowering of the pH of your blood. And the brain can't allow that to happen. Remember, the brain's trying to keep you alive, trying to keep you healthy. And when the pH starts to drop, it calls on these little buffers that it has created that are made from minerals to buffer that pH, to raise that pH back up into that zone of 7.35 to 7.45. So it does make a difference. Remember, everything that your cell gets comes from the blood. So if you're eating something, even though it might be a raw fruit, maybe it's raw fruit juice that maybe you've added some lemon juice to some water, if it's acidic, it's going to affect the pH of your blood long before the blood ever delivered those nutrients that may end up being combusted into and produce an alkaline ash. Long before that, it has affected in a harmful way the pH of your blood. Now, it's just a temporary thing, but I'm just saying everything that you eat, everything that you drink affects your pH. And so I was so excited when I found out that if you could just become more alkaline, you could be healthier. And so I went about learning how do you become more alkaline, and I learned this. Very simple. Almost without exception, everything that you eat that's raw, every kind of fruit or vegetable that you eat raw is alkaline. So there's the secret. You just eat raw fruits and vegetables. And if you only drink mineral water is usually just slightly alkaline. Usually it doesn't have a lot of minerals in it and not a wide variety. So it'll be just slightly alkaline, a little above 7. If you do that, you can raise naturally your pH to be in that perfect range of 7.35 to 7.45. Now, the problem is, have you ever done that? Have you ever eaten just nothing but raw fruits and vegetables, no animal products of any kind, no cooked, canned, or processed food of any kind, and only drank mineral water, no coffee, tea, fruit juices, no soft drinks, no alcoholic beverages, nothing but just mineral water and raw fruits and vegetables? Have you ever done that? Well, I did, and I'll tell you something. After a number of months, I just got tired of it. And in fact, it presented a problem because if I was going to come over your house for dinner, I'd either have to bring my own food or I'd have to impose on you and say, hey, I don't know what else you've got in the fridge, but that meatloaf you just cooked up with the potatoes and carrots and whatever else you've got to go with it, I can't eat that. I only eat raw fruits and vegetables. So it became very constricting, and especially if I was going to travel. And you know what happened? After a while, my body was so used to having just the raw fruits and vegetables, which is the healthiest way that you could possibly eat. Whenever I did eat cooked, canned, or processed food, it felt like my liver was going into convulsions. My body just wasn't used to it anymore. And so finally, I just had to give it up, mainly because of convenience. And here I was teaching people, if you've got a really serious health problem, you can go a long way to help yourself by making your body more alkaline through this very, very restrictive diet of just simply raw fruits and vegetables and mineral water. If you can do that, but most people couldn't. And so I remember having spent hours and hours teaching people with some very serious problems how to eat a raw fruit and vegetable diet and just drink mineral water. And some of these people, knowing my mother, would contact her and say, hey, I just spent several hours with your son, and man, he really knows a lot about health and a lot about food, but is he serious? I can only eat raw fruits and vegetables? I don't know if I can do that. And so my mom kept saying to me, Fred, you've got to find a better way. I said, Mom, this is all I know. She said, well, keep searching. So I did. I kept researching. And I'm going to throw one other thing in there. I prayed about it. I said, God, you got to show me a better way. And God answered my prayer. I was contacted by a man from Sweden who was a brilliant researcher on health. And in particular, at that time, he was doing a lot of work researching about cancer. And he agreed with me. He said the best thing that you can do to help yourself whenever you've got a serious health problem is you've got to try to become more alkaline. And so we shared information back and forth. And one day he called me up and he said, Fred, I think minerals are far more important than vitamins. Now, I didn't know what he was leading me into. It took me a while because we had to search the world over to find the best mineral product. But lo and behold, skipping forward and shortening the story, he called me up and he said, I think I found it. And I said, what's that? And he said, coral calcium from Okinawa. Now, I didn't like the name coral calcium because it was way more than just calcium. It was a full spectrum of minerals. But he said, this is the best mineral product in the world. And I said, well, I've got to know about it. I've got to try some. I've got to get some samples of this stuff. So he connected me with the company that at that time had the world rights. I'm working directly with the inventor now in Japan. But at that time, he connected me with this company, and they sent me some samples. And so to test it out, I stopped taking all the supplements I was taking at that time, remember, I knew a lot about supplements, and I was taking about 35 tablets and capsules a day. Some were multiples of the same product. But I was taking about 35 tablets and capsules a day, and I stopped all that because I wanted to be totally pure in my judgment of this product, so I wanted to see what it would do all by itself. And I even had other people try it on that basis. And I would have people come to me because I had you might say, a practice. I had clients that would come to me and they'd want my advice because I had a reputation for helping people, even people that were really in serious trouble. And so they would come to me, and instead of spending hours teaching them about eating raw fruits and vegetables and only drinking mineral water, I wouldn't say any of that. I would just say, you know what? Put these little packets of minerals into your water and just drink at least a half a gallon a day. Let me know what happens. And people would look at me sideways, and they thought, what? That's it? And they would come back, and sometimes with the most extraordinary testimonials. And I thought, wow, how can this be? I didn't think it was possible to become healthy before you changed your diet. I thought that was an integral part of restoring health, was going on this really restrictive diet. And yet people weren't doing that. They were just drinking this water with Alkaline in it, and they were coming back with these extraordinary testimonials. Well, after looking at these granules and seeing that they didn't dissolve, and I thought, man, it's not even that much. I mean, there are products out there when you take a capsule, it's like 500 milligrams. Some of them are 1,000 milligram tablets of minerals. And I thought, how can this be? This is a small amount of minerals, because I pulled those sachets out of the water, and it didn't matter if I left it in there an hour, a day, a week, a month. That little packet of minerals didn't look like anything had dissolved. But I knew minerals were coming out of those granules into the water. But I thought, it must be a very small amount. How could that be? How could people be restoring their health without changing their diet and just drinking this water where I knew not really a huge volume of minerals were coming in the water? I thought, what in the world? And then it just so happened that my curiosity got the best of me, and I tried to figure out how to make these little granules dissolve further. And it was a young lady named Kim, who now is my wife, who eventually led me to a secret to invent the ionite. And I did the same thing again. I didn't even take the Alkaline. I just took ionite in my water. And again, I thought, this is just crazy. I know there's not much in the way of volume of minerals in here. There were, it was with the addition of organic complexes from plants that sort of fortified it to another level. But I couldn't believe it. This was so simple. Putting these two mineral products together was even better. I got even more health benefits. And I thought, how could it be so simple? Here, you got to realize how many years, even working in two different medical clinics where I would sit down being paid by medical doctors to teach people how to restore their health. The doctors would prescribe medicines to get them out of trouble, but then I would teach them how to eat to have longer lasting results and get back on the right track to health. And all of a sudden, all of that wasn't even necessary anymore. Now, for any of you who think that I'm saying you don't have to eat healthy to be healthy, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that the most important thing that you could possibly do for yourself to restore your health is not to stop eating cheeseburgers and pizza. Now, it's a good idea for some people to cut back on what they're eating if they're eating just cheeseburgers and pizza. But what I'm saying is the most important thing that you could do is to put minerals in your water, ideally Alkaline and ionite, because those are the two best mineral products on the planet. And if you have not seen my video, I think I make a pretty good argument as to why that is. So if you haven't seen the video on the website, Diseased or Deficient, you got to see it. So let's skip forward here just a little bit, because I've got something real important to tell you. So now I've got all these amazing testimonials coming from people. They thought I was a hero. If I wanted to run for mayor, people probably would have elected me because I was such a hero at helping people restore their health, just in my own community. And then when I hooked up with network marketing and got it out to people in other countries even, let alone all over the U.S., I became even more of a hero. And then something weird happened. I started getting bombarded from people saying, hey, Fred, I know of another way you can become more alkaline. I know another way that you can make alkaline water. And they started talking about these expensive devices. They look kind of like a water filter, but you got to plug them in. And they're called ionizers. And what the ionizer does is it uses electricity. I won't get into all the specifics of it, but it uses electricity to create alkaline water. And it even goes one step further. The water actually becomes antioxidant. Well, that's what was happening when I put the Alkaline into water. It became more alkaline, and it became antioxidant water, and it became more absorbable. It breaks up the water molecules that are clustered together. It breaks them up into smaller clusters. And these ionizers, people told me, were doing the same thing. So I had to investigate because this was competition. And if it turned out that these ionizers were every bit as good as the Alkaline and Ionite, then I was in trouble. I had a lot at stake here. I had told people this was the best. So I started to investigate. And then a really strange thing happened. I had people who were using my products that stopped taking my products. Even though they had had wonderful things happen to improve their health, they stopped taking my products and bought into this science of the water ionizer, electrocuting water to change it. And everything was rosy for a while, and I was really, I'm just going to be honest with you, I was really kind of frightened that this was going to cause a collapse of my business. But then something interesting happened. I would get phone calls back from these people, sometimes months later. One lady, it took a whole year, and she called me up and she said, Fred, I had really severe back pain that cleared up when I started using Alkaline Ionite in my water. And she, for years, used those products because she believed in them. She told a lot of other people about them. This was before Basic Reset. And I didn't hear from her for about a year. And she called me up and she said, I didn't realize how important minerals were. I thought the whole thing was, do you have alkaline water? Didn't matter how you arrive at it. Is it alkaline? And she said, so I bought into that. In fact, she bought into it to the tune of $4,000. I'm not going to mention the name of the company. For any of you who have been approached with someone selling water ionizers, you probably can figure out who I'm talking about. But she spent $4,000 on this device. And she said, it wasn't but about 2 weeks, and my back pain came back. And I called the person who sold me the ionizer, and I said, hey, what's going on here? My back pain came back. I thought you said this would be every bit as good as the Alkaline Ionite. And they said, well, no, I didn't say that it was all you need. I said, it's the main thing. You need other supplements. So she started buying other supplements. Still didn't get rid of her back pain. A year she went through this, trying one thing after another, still drinking this expensive water. And finally, she found a bottle of Ionite in a drawer, part of a bottle. And she found that bottle, and she got it out, and she started putting those Ionite drops into her expensive water, ionized water. And in just a few days, her back pain went away, and she called me up. She said, you were right. I should have listened to you. But she said, I got led down a rabbit trail, somebody telling me I didn't need your products. Now, let me tell you what happened. You see, you can have science, and science is very good if it's done properly. But sometimes scientists spend too much time looking through a microscope and not enough time looking through binoculars, and here's what I mean by that. If you spend all your time looking through through a microscope, what you see is alkaline water. And to a scientist, if the end result is alkaline water, they don't really care how you arrive at that. Whether it's electricity or whether it's minerals, they don't see any difference because the end result is alkaline water. But they're missing something. It's not natural to electrocute water. Lightning strikes our planet thousands of times somewhere on our planet, and our planet is, some say, 60 to 70% water. So you can imagine lightning is striking water a lot. And yet the water's not changed. And in fact, a water ionizer electrocuting the water doesn't stay changed. In fact, this company that has this $4,000 machine, they admit, it's kind of a dirty little secret, but they admit, their water expert admits, that it doesn't stay changed. It reverts back. And in fact, it reverts back sometimes within hours, but certainly within 24 hours. That water has reverted back to what it was before it was changed with electricity. So how can you really change your overall pH if the water you're drinking is changing back to what it was before? Doesn't seem like it's a permanent solution to me. And in fact, when you talk to people that are promoting these ionizers, a lot of times they're very knowledgeable people about health in general. And they talk about eating organic food. They talk about taking high-quality supplements. But then they kind of get off the rails and they talk about electrocuting water. Now, that's about as unnatural as you can possibly get. So what is the natural way in nature that water is changed to be alkaline? Because there are places in the world where you can find alkaline water. And guess what? In these 5 or 6 places where the water is alkaline and it's antioxidant and it has a high permeability rate to your cells, this water is always, no exceptions, it's always changed because of the mineral content of the water. Now, doesn't that seem like really more natural? In fact, the top of the list of the places in the world where you can get this healthy, alkaline, antioxidant, mineral-rich water is Okinawa. And these people live longer and are healthier than any place else on the planet. So if you had a choice and you want to do things naturally or do things artificially, I think most of you would agree the best thing, the right thing to do is to do things naturally. Because you can't go out there and talk out of one side of your mouth and then talk one thing and then talk out of the other side of your mouth something else. And if you're talking about electrocuting water to arrive at something, and then the other side of your mouth you're talking about eating natural, wholesome foods, it's a contradiction. Now let me tell you one other thing that people talk about. And that is, do we really need minerals? Oh my gosh. The simple answer to that is absolutely. You cannot be healthy if you're mineral deficient. It's just not going to happen because every process in your body is dependent on minerals. And guess what? Everything that your cells receive comes from the blood, and the blood's 90% water. That means the minerals, in order to be properly absorbed, have to be in the water. And they have to be in a small enough state that they can actually penetrate the cells. So that doesn't mean that they're just dissolved in water. It means that they're actually part of the water. And when they become part of the water, if you have the full spectrum of minerals, they change the water in some very mysterious ways, healthy ways. And that translates to you becoming more healthy. Let me tell you one last thing about these water ionizers. When you make water of, let's say, a pH 9.5, which is typically what they promote, your blood, as I mentioned, carries everything that your cells are going to get. Everything the cell receives comes from the blood. And what did I say in the beginning about the brain? It keeps that pH at a 7.35 to 7.45. So if you drink water of a pH 9.5, the brain is going to do whatever it can to bring that pH down so it fits into those parameters. So 9.5, it's never going to be 9.5 when it reaches your cells. It can't. The brain's not going to allow it. So what do you get? You get water that's going to be about a 7.45. But if the water was changed with minerals, the minerals are what the body uses to regulate self-regulate its own pH. In other words, if you want to really make a long-lasting impact on your pH, you want to do it with minerals in water. Because now your brain is able to call upon those reserves, those buffers made from minerals to regulate your pH. So if you do go out and eat an occasional cheeseburger or pizza or have an occasional beer or a soft drink, it's not going to really harm you like it would otherwise if you were just drinking ionized electrocuted water, because with that, all you have is the minerals that were in the tap water. And we know that that's not all you need, or people would be healthy just drinking tap water or filtered tap water. The minerals aren't there. And we already know, I'm not even going to get into the fact they're not in our food. So where are we supposed to be getting those minerals that we can't be healthy without? You're not. And the ionizer doesn't solve that problem. But when you put Alkaline and iodine in the water, not only do you get healthy alkaline water, but you get the minerals that your body's going to then use to help regulate, self-regulate the pH. Now, let me tell you the proof of that. A guy called me up and he told me how he wanted to help me market the Alkaline because it had saved his life. And when he told me what was wrong, I won't get into all the details, but when he told me what was wrong, he concluded with saying the doctor told his wife, you may as well make funeral arrangements because he's not going to be around long. There's nothing we can do about it. And he found out about our Alkaline, started putting it in his water, and in just a few weeks, he couldn't believe it, neither could the doctor. His health had been turned around 180 degrees. And I asked him, I said, how are you using it? He said, just like I was told, I was putting 1 sachet in a gallon of water. Now, the reason I bring that up is a very important one. Putting 1 sachet in a gallon of water, it's not going to change the pH. It's just not. But the minerals were there that his body needed to self-adjust, self-regulate his internal pH. That's the most important thing you can do to help your body regulate its own pH. And then we have people talk about, Fred, what's the best way to test my pH? Well, let me tell you something. If you've been paying attention, you already know the answer. Unless you're going to be only eating raw fruits and vegetables and drinking nothing but mineral water, you're going to have a lot of acidic influences. So don't even bother testing your pH. It really is kind of a futile attempt to learn something about your body that's inaccurate. And very seldom does anybody have laboratory testing of their pH. And a lot of times people will say, well, Fred, when I want to make myself more alkaline, I put some baking soda in water because it makes very alkaline water, and I drink that and I test the pH of my urine with these little test strips that I got from the health food store, and voila, my pH is real high. Well, guess what? What do you think your urine is made of? It's the stuff that your kidneys filtered out of the blood, the stuff that shouldn't be there, the stuff that could cause you harm. It gets it out of the blood as fast as it can. And where does it show up? In the urine. The urine is what your kidneys have filtered out of the blood. And so here's this excess of sodium bicarbonate that the kidneys are like, whoa, what are you trying to do here? We don't need all that sodium bicarbonate, so it pulls it out. And now this person tests the urine and says, I'm really alkaline. But all they're testing is baking soda water. It's in the form of urine because it was filtered out of the blood. But that's all they're testing is baking soda water. Now, the other thing they do is they say, well, I don't test my urine, I test my saliva. That's a representation of the blood. Well, yeah, but guess what? If you're dehydrated, your saliva tests more alkaline. I have found people who, by their description of how they live, their lifestyle, what they eat, what they drink, they had to be acidic. What goes in is going to influence what's inside of you. These people were eating and drinking acidic, and yet their saliva showed alkaline. And they said, well, I don't need your products. I'm already alkaline. But yet they had health problems. And I knew they had to be acidic And I found out why they tested Alkaline. Because when you're dehydrated, your saliva has a higher concentration of whatever minerals are in your body. A higher concentration, so it tests Alkaline. But it's actually telling you two things are wrong. One is you're dehydrated. And number two, this is a false reading, you're actually acidic. So the conclusion, don't even bother wasting your time. It's not relevant. If you test the pH of your saliva, you got the pH of the saliva. If you test the pH of the urine, you've got the pH of the urine. What's the pH of your blood? Well, you got to test the pH of the blood. And then what does that tell you about the pH of your leg or your arm? It doesn't. You just tested the blood. So we have to put this into perspective. As I said, instead of spending all this time trying to test, just know, unless you're only eating raw fruits and vegetables, it's not very likely that you're going to be alkaline. But you can offset those things, cooked, canned, processed food, the things that we like to drink on occasion that we know aren't healthy for us, but you can offset that by giving your body the minerals it needs to self-regulate the pH in the form of Alkaline and Iodine in your water. Now, I hope I didn't get too complicated, but I just want you to know, I didn't just, as my wife sometimes says, this isn't my first rodeo. I have spent a lot of time defending Alkaline and Iodine, and sometimes people would come along and they'd have some drops. They said, look, you just put 10 drops in a liter of water and it'll raise the pH to a 10. And then I found out that these drops had the key ingredient that matched the key ingredient in liquid Drano. Yeah, liquid Drano is not acidic like you might think. It's very, very alkaline, and something that is extremely alkaline has the same caustic effect as something that's extremely acidic. So how do you want to help your body to be more alkaline, which is going to put your body in a healthier state? Electricity? Chemicals? Or do you want to do it the natural way, the way that it occurs in nature, and the way that it occurs for the healthiest, longest living people on the planet? I think you'll choose the same thing I did, and that's Alkaline and Iodine. Randy, I hope I didn't get too long-winded, and I hope I didn't bore people, but this is a very important subject, and I just want to empower people to know how to respond to others who say to them, oh, I don't need your stuff, I've got an ionizer.
No, Fred, you did absolutely fine. And, when you speak, nobody gets bored, because everything that you tell us is, you not only explain it to us, telling us what it is, but you do it in such a way that we understand it. And I think that's an absolute blessing. And I want to thank you for getting on the call again tonight and sharing that with us and letting us know what the differences are, because I know I get asked the question a lot. And I really didn't know how to answer it the correct way either, now that I've listened to you. But now I know. As a matter of fact, what's really cool about this, Fred, is if you have somebody that's wondering about this, now I believe this call tonight is actually going to be call number 50 on the recording, but you literally could, somebody questions you about this, you could send them to call number 50 and say, hey, go listen to call number 50. And you will find out. You'll hear right from Fred as to why there's a difference between those machines. And then, by the way, when you're there, you're also going to hear about why our company is considered such an ethical company. And it was really great. So, Fred, I thank you for being here. Again, Penny, I want to thank you for welcoming everybody. And I want to thank you guys that are listening. See, this call wouldn't be a call if it wasn't for you. So remember these famous words that I always say when I end everything that I do. Wherever you go, there you are. Always make the most of it, because if you don't, I guarantee you nobody's going to do it for you. So we'll see you all next Thursday night. Have a wonderful weekend coming up. God bless you, and good night, everybody.